This is the Reolink app for the Reolink Argus 4 Pro. Here you can see I have it at the top of my list. Note that this one also says not connected. That is because it is a battery-powered camera and it does not connect all the time to help preserve the battery. In the lower left-hand corner here, you can see an icon for the battery. Notice it's green and has a lightning bolt. That indicates that it is charging via an external solar panel, which is an extra that you can get for the camera. On the upper right-hand corner here, we have PIR. If I tap this, I can turn on and off the PIR sensor. Notice now no PIR, and it's actually showing me a live feed. We're going to turn that PIR back on for battery savings. And then up here, this is another way that you can access the settings for the camera. But we're going to tap on it and open up the camera. We'll give this a moment to load. In the upper left-hand corner, you have the name of the camera as well as the bit rate for the camera. To the right of that, we have our alarm. Tapping that, if I select this icon, it will either play the default sound, or if you set up a new trigger sound, tapping this will have it go off, and it sounds like this. To the right of that is our flashlight or torch. Selecting this will actually turn on the LED lights. You'll notice right there, it has a faint blue hue. So if you're doing this in the daytime or when it's not super dark out and you can't tell when the LEDs are on, you might accidentally trigger it. It's not terrible. They don't stay on that long. You can adjust that in the settings area, but I wish this icon maybe filled in completely white so that I knew that that was on. To the right of that, we have our 4 boxes. This indicates the view. Right now I'm on single camera view, but Reolink allows you to have up to 4 different cameras displayed all at one time, and that's what this box is for. Our settings we'll touch on a little later. To the right of that, we have our 3 dots. This will bring up immersive mode, meaning, hey, you don't have any of the extra options that you were seeing before. We're going to bring that back. And then we have picture in picture. This is another great option that Reolink has, allowing you to monitor your camera while you're doing other things on other screens. Down here in the center, this is our active view. If I double tap, it's going to bring me into this multi-camera view, and double tapping again brings us back to our single. If we wanted to zoom in, we have to pinch to zoom, and we're going to use the well over here as our example. You'll notice right now it's on low, so it's saving bitrate. If I select this and select clear, which is actually going to be our high setting, so the most information and data that we can get from it, it's going to bring us all the way back out, but I'm going to zoom in again so that you could see the visual clarity difference between the low and the high mode. Double tapping there will pull it all the way back. I got ahead of myself. Down here, we have a pause play button. If I select that, it will pause the live feed, or I can select play. Here we have our sound. Do we want to hear the audio from our live feed? You can mute that or have it off. On this camera icon, we'll take a still frame of whatever happens to be in frame. So if I go like that, it has taken a picture. To the right of that is a movie camera. Selecting that will record video of any movement that happens to be going on in frame. We're going to turn that off and then touch on our high-low setting. If you're worried about preserving Wi-Fi bandwidth or the camera's battery, you can select low. It is still usable, but if you're getting this camera, you're getting it for that high fidelity video. To the right of that, we have our full screen mode. Selecting that kind of shifts everything around, but you still have access to all of your options. Coming down, we have our talk button. Selecting this will give us our talking options. Here we have our earphone mode, which is noiseless. We have our tap to talk, and if I select this, this is actually full duplex. I don't have to press and hold. They can hear me, they can talk back to me all at the same time. We're going to turn that off, and then we have our volume. I have to be actively talking in order for that to be functional. So here you can see I can hear, and then I can lower or raise my side volume as needed. We're going to select that off and move on to the right. We have our playback. Selecting this will bring up a timeline of all of your video that the camera has taken. And by default, it's going to be in this strip mode. And each one of these blue lines right here is an indicator of something that has happened. Now, I have swapped between a bunch of different SD cards, so you're not seeing all that I can see. If I wanted to see a different view, I could simply select these lines here, and now I'm in a thumbnail view. So if you prefer seeing things as thumbnail, this is how you'd be able to do that. Not only that, you may have noticed in the upper right hand corner of these icons in these thumbnails is a person or a pet icon, meaning it's going to let you know what it sees. If I select on one of these icons, it will start playing that video feed right up here. So this is me and my robot moving around. I can come up here and I could slow this down to half speed if I wanted to. So now things are moving a little slower. I can kind of see what's going on. I could select even slower if I wanted to. And then if I wanted to download this, I would simply select this icon. One of the great things that Reolink has is the ability to take what could be a long clip and shrink it down to what you want, simply by dragging sizing handles. Notice now, it's only going to be a 17-second clip, and it's going to show me a preview of that in case I want to refine that anymore. Once I'm perfectly satisfied, I select the download option right there, and it will download that to your phone's library. You also have the ability to share Reolink Capture and win special gifts, or share with others via an application. When you're ready, simply select done. For our video footage, you have play, pause, sound, camera, just like we had before where it takes a still frame, or record video. You could record it this way, but the download is such a better way of doing it. On the bottom here, we have our filter. If you have this in a high traffic area and you only want to see recordings for specific events, in my case, I want people. I would deselect pets and vehicles, and then I will only see videos that have a person in it. If I want a pet, I simply tap it, and it will show me pets as well. That is one of the great features about Reolink's video saving, in that you have the ability to filter what you're looking for, but also clip down those sizes. If you're in your timeline view here, you can select a different date simply by selecting the date. Again, I've been swapping in and out SD cards. If I had an SD card that had previous dates, these would be white, and I could go back and select that date. Selecting the X button will close out your playback area, and that has been everything that we could do for the camera controls. But if we come up to the right hand corner and select the sprocket icon, now we get into the settings for this camera. Starting at the top, we have the name and the usable space in that SD card that you have installed, as well as its Wi-Fi connection. If I select this, there's a lot of sensitive information, but that's how you could change your name and so forth. Coming down, we have battery. As I indicated before, it has a sun with a lightning bolt and green. That means that it is charging. Now, it is a abysmally gloomy day, as you can see here when I'm actually filming this, and the solar panel is still picking up power. If I select this, it will say what my battery level is and will give me a runtime of information here if I had a chart. So running time of the last 4 weeks. Down here we have our Wi-Fi. If you ever needed to change your Wi-Fi, this is where you'd come to do it. Display, selecting this. Notice it's going to give you a live view of the settings that you're playing with. So right here we have stream. It's letting me know clear and fluent. This is your high and low. Your high settings are 5120 by 1440 at 15 frames a second. And then your low is going to be 1536 by 432 at 15 frames a second. No matter what you do, it's always going to be 15 frames a second. However, if I wanted to edit any of these, such as 15 frames, I can change it lower. Or if I wanted to make this resolution higher, I can come in here and do that. And you can do that with each of those. So that's a very nice feature to have. Anti-flicker, it will allow you to change the hertz rate of the camera itself. So if you've ever been to a foreign country and you've seen lights flickering, it's a frequency thing with the hertz rate. You can adjust it there if you need to. Brightness will allow you to dynamically change the brightness of the picture, meaning if I lower this, it's going to get darker and it will show it right there. But I can also brighten this. So if you happen to have this in an area that's kind of dark and hard to see, you can increase the brightness. Right now, it's going to look washed out because, well, if I'm being honest, I don't need that option, but it's nice that it's right there and you can change that. Here we have camera name. Right now I have it on the bottom right. You have lots of places that you can move it around to, but you can also hide it if you don't want it to show up there. Same thing with the date and time. You could select its location or hide it altogether. You also have your watermark, which is the Reolink watermark. For me, I like having it so I can keep track of the cameras that things are coming from, but you can toggle that off and it will take it away. Here we have privacy mask. What this will allow you to do is select an area right here. So this wishing well, I don't want that to be recorded. I don't want it to be visible when I'm looking through the live feed. If I set up a privacy area, it will hide that area so that I can't view it and I can't see anything on the recording. It blocks it out. It does not exist. You can have up to 8 privacy areas. So as you can see, I've got a large field of stuff that I can view from here. And if I don't want to see something, I could put a bunch of those in there and block them out. I can also delete the individual one that I just did, or I can select remove all. If you wanted to keep it, simply select the save button in the upper right hand corner. Coming down, we have advanced. So right here, we have our image stitching, and this will allow you to adjust horizontal and vertical. What does this mean? You get to fine tune the appearance so that it best suits where you have it. So in my case, if I wanted vertical, I can increase it. If I want to manipulate the horizontal, I could do that too. Now, for me, it's monitoring such a large swath that it's difficult to see any changes that might have happened there. Just know, if you needed to, if you had this slightly askewed, that's where you could go under advanced. Brightness and shadows, just like I showed you before, you can adjust. By default, it's on auto, but I can change my brightness levels, I can adjust my shadows, and then if you screw something up and you want it to go back to how it was, you can always restore default very quickly. Just like with our color night mode, you can adjust your brightness and shadows. Unless you really need to, you can leave it on auto. Coming back, we move on to audio. And here we have the ability to record audio and then our speaker volume. Some area you're not legally allowed to record audio. If you need to, that's how you can come in and toggle that off. Coming down to our lights. Here we have our spotlight. Right now, I have the mode set for off, which is just keep the lights off because I want to test the advanced color sensor that they have for night mode. But if I select auto, what that will do is as things get dark, it will automatically turn on the spotlights. And then here we have a slider adjuster for the actual brightness of those LED spotlights. Coming down, we have our PIR sensor. You can turn that on or off. If you want to actually detect motion, you got to have it on, but they also allow you to adjust the sensitivity. The higher the sensitivity is, the further out it will detect to. If you're having a lot of false alarms or triggers, you can select reduce false alarms up there and it will kind of dynamically change the detection algorithm to not just be, hey, it saw movement, but it's movement that matches these particular things. Coming down, we have our detection alarm. Right now, I don't have it turned on, but if we wanted to, we can select a zone and say, hey, we want this area over here to detect for people, and then save. And then I could come back and come to animals. Well, I only care about this zone right here for animals. There's a lot of customization that Reolink gives you that make this a very full-featured camera. Motion mask, selecting this, if a moving target happens to be in frame, you'll see a box around it. It kind of looks like this. It is useful if you are having trouble tracking something moving through frame, but I have seen it grab multiple targets and it can be a little busy. Moving on, we have sensitivity and then smart detection. Right here, you can actually set the level of sensitivity per object type. So I have 0 vehicles and I have people and pets that work their way through here. But see, 86 for people, 79 for animals, and I'll hit save. And now the detection settings, instead of just being a blanket for everything, I have selectively chosen what type of sensitivity the camera will have when it sends me a notification. Object size is another interesting tool that Reolink has in that you can select a minimum object size or a maximum object size for a person, vehicle, or pet. So what this means is if I do minimum, that there, I need an object to be smaller than that box in order to be detected and notified. And if I do max, it would have to be bigger than this box for me to get notified. And that's just for person. That's not for vehicle. That's not for animal. You could do that for each. When you're done, simply select the save in the upper right-hand corner. Coming back, we have camera recording. Do you want it to record? Yes or no? Do you want it to record on a schedule? In this case, I have it all the time, but if I wanted to, I could set up a schedule for specific days and times. You also have detection type. So do you want to set up a detection schedule for person, vehicle, and animal? So if you have a specific time of day that you don't want people in a specific area, you could set it to let you know. Post-motion recording duration means that after movement has been detected, how long will the camera continue to record a clip for you? You can go to 8 seconds all the way to 30 seconds. And then down here we have overwrite files on the SD card. You can set it so that it overwrites all video files within a day. And this is where I was getting in trouble because I was playing with this. Overwrite all files within a day, or by default, and what you should use is override oldest files, meaning only the oldest files in the camera will be overwritten as you run out of space. You can also select none, which will keep all of your recordings, and you just have to swap out your SD cards. Push notification, turning that on, you could set up a schedule. Notice I have person and animal notifications only, but if you want your camera to send you something letting you know that it's seen something, you do have to have push notifications on. There's a test button in the upper right hand corner in case you want to make sure that it will actually send something to your phone. Email alerts on. This will be similar to the push notification, except it will send it to your email. You do have to set that up. FTP, you have the ability to turn that on or off. If you don't know what FTP is, stay out of here. Don't mess with it. But if you're looking for that feature, that's where it is. Siren, this is going to be, do I want my siren to turn on when it detects motion? You have siren sound, you have default sound, or you can select a custom sound up to 5 seconds. Hey, you get off my lawn. I know you're there. Get off my lawn before I get my something. And what this will do is send this file to the camera so that when the siren's on and it detects motion, it will play this. You will hear a pre-alarm sound from the camera indicating that the camera determined that there's motion. It's pretty much giving a warning to anybody who's getting close to the camera. And then you have your schedule. If there's specific days and times that you want this to be on schedule, if not on all the time, and then for what types of triggers. And we come down to share this camera. Selecting this option will generate a QR code that you can give to other Reolink users so that they can view your camera. Time lapse, this is another great feature that Reolink has over other cameras in that it will allow you to take a time lapse photo. It has some presets, moving cloud, sunrise, sunset, construction, blooming, but you also have the ability to customize it. Capture starting date, duration, interval, quality, and file type, and then you hit start and it would go about its business. When you have a time lapse, you simply come up here and you'll see it in the gallery. You also have settings for your time lapse if you wanted to. Override time lapse files, yes or no. Coming down, we have advanced. At the top, we have illegal login lockout. If you turn this on, if too many attempts were made to get into your account, this will lock things out without your specific device password. You have change device password and then date and time. From here too, you also have reboot the device and restore the device. At the bottom of your settings page, you have log out of device and delete this device. And those are all the settings for the Reolink Argus 4 Pro using the Reolink app.